How's it going, everybody? Adrian here from the Gaming Observer, and welcome back to your daily news update for Tuesday, September the 15th. Got lots of things to discuss here today. Let's jump right in. Okay, so the NPD group have shared their sales reports for August 2020. If you don't know, this tracks video games sales data across the United States. And so the key takeaway from August is that Madden NFL 21 was the best-selling title of the month, with major growth over last year's entry. They made way more money. And it is also the 21st consecutive year that a Madden game has been the best-selling title in its released month. It is also the best-selling sports franchise in United States history. Following up from Madden is the number 2 spot belonging to UFC 4, which is actually setting a franchise record. And that also means that the top 2 spots belong to EA. It's not just EA doing very well, though. So did Nintendo. They did exceptionally well. In particular, the Nintendo Switch has set a new August hardware record. So out of every single August that has ever been tracked, the Switch is the best-selling console out of them all, beating the record set by the Wii in 2008. And not only that, but unit sales have doubled year over year. So the Switch is still just selling extremely well. Also under the Nintendo umbrella, Breath of the Wild was the 6th best-selling game on the Switch, which means that it has now been in the top 7 for 42 consecutive months, over 3 years. And this also makes it the 10th best-selling game that Nintendo has ever had in the United States. It has definitely been an interesting year so far, and that was an interesting August. We'll see what the rest of the year has in store, for sure. The follow-up to one of the biggest indie games of all time, Spelunky, is officially releasing on the PlayStation 4 today, the 15th. So I read a bunch of the reviews that are now out, and Polygon has posited that the first Spelunky was actually the perfect video game, and I think that's something a lot of people would agree with. So the inevitable question becomes, how do you make a sequel to a perfect game? And apparently the answer is that you don't. Here's the quote from Polygon, quote, "Spelunky 2 isn't a sequel, or at least I wouldn't use that term. It's something different, like so many modern games that blur the lines between remaster, reboot, remake, and reimagining. It warrants new words," end quote. And I mean, this is a sentiment that is shared among many of the reviewers. And essentially what they say is that Derek Yu has expanded and improved many aspects of the game without radically changing or overcomplicating anything. If you're already a fan of Spelunky, then you're likely going to be very happy with the improvements. And if you're new to the series, then it's just the best way to get the Spelunky experience that everybody's been raving about. So definitely go check that out. It's been highly, highly rated. And if you can't pick it up on PlayStation today, it's going to be slated for a PC release on September 29th. That's 2 weeks. The 7th and newest entry in the Jackbox Party Pack collection has officially been announced, detailed, and given a release date of October 15th. The pack is going to feature Quiplash 3, which is one of the fan favorites of all of the party packs, as well as 4 brand new concepts, and I'll take you through them here. The first one is called Talking Points, and it has one person making a speech over top of a slideshow that they've never seen before. I love the concept of that. Every party pack has a drawing game, so this one is called Champed Up. And basically you draw different characters that compete for various titles in the style of like a wrestling ring. There's a game called The Devil and the Details, which has you completing a bunch of mini-games against your friends, trying to get as many points as possible. And finally, there is Blather Round, where you have to describe popular things using vague terms. And then people have to guess what it is. It's kind of like Pictionary, where you can't, get the perfect thing. So you gotta settle for second best. Anyway, it looks like it's going to be a pretty fun pack, and it's going to launch on all platforms for around $30 American. Check it out. Okay, and our final story. Beginning today, the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate Edition is fully launching into game streaming, at least in the 22 available countries. So if you haven't heard of this, at no additional cost, Game Pass members can now stream around 150 games that are already available through the Game Pass onto their Android devices. And I mean, the opportunities of what you can do with this are pretty flexible. If you're an existing member, then you can just seamlessly transition between devices. If you have a console or a PC, you can go right to mobile mid-game. And if you don't have the Game Pass, maybe because you don't have a good console or a good PC, then you now have the option to play AAA games on your phone or tablet, assuming you have good enough internet. It also has full multiplayer crossplay with the Game Pass library. I'm likely going to be testing this out myself over the next couple of days, so keep an ear out for that. And I think the value that they're bringing to this service is just unmatched in the industry right now. I really look forward to seeing what they can do and how they're going to expand this, especially. Anyway, with all of that absolutely exciting news, that's going to wrap us up for today. A tremendous thank you to you all for tuning in. And hey folks, if you haven't already, please head over to thegamingobserver.com/newsletter. I'm sending this daily update to your inbox every single day. It's all written out, it's got nice visual aids for everything, and sometimes I like to throw in something a little extra just for fun. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow with the news, and until then, happy gaming, everyone. Hello, and welcome to the After-Show. Folks, school has begun, officially, and boy, are we starting to feel the heat a little bit. It's funny because, this is my 4th year in university. You kind of expect it to be the busiest one, right? Of the 4 that you have. And originally, I thought that busyness was going to come because, you have a lot of classes to deal with that are all very difficult. But because of this pandemic, and, maybe this is just the case all the time, but definitely enhanced by the pandemic, I actually don't have that many classes. And the classes that I do have that are usually supposed to be, 3 hours long or shorter, the professors have shortened them even more because we're doing it virtually and it's harder to do. I don't know, anyway. So really, I only actually have maybe 3 or 4 hours of in-person Zoom meetings per week. And then I have a 3-hour pre-recorded lecture for my elective that I have to deal with. But then the rest of my time that's supposed to be school really is homework. I have a whole course that's dedicated to just one project. So, that's hard to kind of schedule. I kind of just do the big project whenever I can. It's all immersive. And then it's pretty similar with the other classes, right? We meet for a little bit of time, but most of the class is getting these giant projects done. So it's going to be fun navigating life with all of this. Thankfully, I'm a very structured person. I'm good at organizing my life. I know how I'm going to get everything done. But hopefully I'm just able to come out of it unscathed. And actually, the reason why this is on my mind right now is because I actually have to record The Observer much later than I usually do on Mondays. Because my partner Shelby, she has class from 6 p.m. till 9 p.m. And usually I record the show at 6 p.m.-ish. So now I either have to do the show really early and potentially miss out on a big news story, or record it way later at night. So that's what we're doing now. And that's totally fine, this is what we expected when school started. It's just that, my already limited time of playing video games has now been even more severely limited, which is sad. And it's especially sucky because I just recently sunk my teeth into Nier Automata, which is a tremendously good game, oh my god. And I really want to spend a lot of time with it, but I can't really. I'm trying my best to sneak an hour or two in here and there. So I'm definitely excited to share my thoughts about that game on a weekend show at some point, but it probably won't come for a while. That being said, I can definitely try and go out of my way to try out the new game streaming, because I think that's a really big deal, actually. I mean, I probably personally don't have any use for it. I already have the Game Pass on a console in my bedroom and on the PC in my living room, and those are the only 2 rooms I have, so unless I don't want to do one of those and just play on my phone, I guess that would be an option, but I don't imagine that there will be ever a case where I want to do that. Anyway, folks, I hope you're doing well. I'm going to do my absolute best over the next, not even just couple of weeks, but couple of months to make sure that this show stays on track and stays consistent. And hey, once we get out of this school year in April, we'll take a look at, what we can do with The Observer to make it a little bit more of a permanent fixture in all of our lives. Anyway, folks, thank you for tuning in, and until next time, farewell.